Here we go.
My friends, welcome to another riveting episode of GoldenEye SpeedLore. Today, we're going through the history of the mission Caverns. This level is quite brutal on the higher difficulties, but on the agent difficulty, which I will be covering today, it is actually among the easier missions, as there is only one objective. Do not kill too many evolutionists. You know, those in the white coats, fingering the mainframes. There is really only one annoying, tedious hurdle in this level for speedrunners, and that is getting through the first 2 blast doors before Alec Trevelyan does. And as you see here, you can see how tricky it is. But anyway, let us not waste any more time. Let us take a look at the very first world record speedrun of this level. It was recorded all the way back in 1968 by the legendary Water Jammed son. The quality of the recording still holds up well today, as you can see, and running forward wasn't invented yet, or well, it was seen as rude. Running backwards was believed to be the way of the gentleman and the mark of true sportsmanship. It is undoubtedly quite tricky to navigate the level this way, but hey, the 60s was a different time. So, Walter Jamson was actually the first person ever to hold all the world records in GoldenEye on all stages at the same time. But then, after a while, his arms got tired and he dropped them all on the floor. Yes, you heard that right. Back in the days, the cartridge and the interwebs were not able to save the times, so the player would need to carry all the records with his or her hand, which is likely why nobody ever were bold enough to hold more than 1 or 2 world records or untied records at a time. As you can see, it's quite a struggle to get through this level backwards. Walter Jamson is also apparently a Dutch, and I think you also know words like this. Stop met de belachelijk mega van mijn naam. I think I said that right. But back to the run itself. You can see that there is certainly a room for improvement, efficiency-wise. But I do think this video makes for a wonderful piece of GoldenEye speedrunning history, capturing the very different culture back then. So let us have a look at the time he got. He got a very respectable time here. It is of course hard to compare this run to the runs of today with entirely new strategies. It would be like comparing Maradona to Messi. It's not quite fair, is it? But 2 years passes, and with time comes inevitable change. Now, 2 years later, in 1970, a man called Brian Bossoft discovered, well, not quite him, but his cousin discovered that it was possible to move forward. So let us take a look at the elite.net forums and see his post there. I fired up my Nintendo last night to do some speed skedaddling, and my hot female cousin was at my house. Forget it, guys, she's mine. She was like, "Oh, what are you doing? That's really hot." And I was like, "Yeah, no, speedrunning is kind of sexy, isn't it?" And she was like, "Can I try?" And I was like, "Sure, but it won't look sexier than when I am doing it." And she took over the controller, and I was like, "What the fuck are you doing? That's revolutionary." As she was pushing the joystick forward, making Bond go forward. And my dudes, it was awesome. Now I could see where I was actually going. I'm gonna grind some WRs tonight with the new strat. What do you think? Could this be the future? And a guy called My Friends replied, "I don't know. I sometimes use forward running to open doors, but nothing else. It just seems slower to me." And then we have Rutsu below replying, "If this becomes the new strat, I'm quitting this game officially. This technique is just gonna become way too tedious and complex. And then we would no longer have a view of what is happening behind us. No, this is retarded. Stop trolling." And then we have a Clementine under here. Oh no, let's just skip that one. It's not necessary. So yeah, let us take a look at the next video. A run that gave our next GoldenEye speedrunning legends an untied world record, a fellow by the name of Brian Bossoft. He is struggling to beat Sean Bean in the race to get through the first blast doors. You can clearly see that the whole running forward strategy is in its infancy. The maneuvering isn't optimal. You do crash into the railings and the walls and get stuck, wasting valuable seconds, but it is regardless an important stepping stone for what is to come later. To get the total time across all levels and difficulties of the game down from 27 hours to about 2 hours. So, with this new strategy, Big Boss was able to copy Walter Jameson's feat, getting untied world records on all levels. He had to apparently grind for the whole amount of 5 minutes for each record, which shows how degenerate the lifestyle of a speedrunner can be. He had to skip both dinner and dessert that day. It is, as the saying goes, a man cannot survive without hamburger and cream pie. Anyway, lovely run by Bossoft there, crushing the previous record. Now, I have with me another legend who cleaned up the strategy and untied the world record. All the way from Australia, I have with me Carl Werkst. Sadly, he's got no face cam, but his voice will suffice. So,
hello, you absolute legends.
So Carl, take you through your run.
Sure, so I start off by killing this idiot.
Now, Carl, I believe what you meant was make him pass away.
No, what I meant was that I murdered this man by shooting him in the fucking face. And then I proceeded to make sure he was killed. Kill.
Yeah. Well, you did certainly get a really good time.
Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with this time. Anyway, there's some guy with a corny tie with an American flag on it busting on my door.
And good luck.
Bye.
Now, my friends, this run we just witnessed by Carl Werkst would of course not be the end of this SpeedLore episode. The next guy who we are yet to introduce in this episode is none other than the Danish genius Mark Rutsu. He did spark some controversy with how he beat Carl's world record. Let me first start the video of his run before I explain. Notice, he does not leave the elevator, but what he does instead is, he goes down on his knees and prays to the god of his religion. Members of the elite were outraged. This was cheating at the highest level, involving supernatural powers to gain speedrun glory. This post on the elite forums by Ilarimatti Pekkalika expressed his frustration with Mark's newest shenanigans. Let me read for you. How can this be allowed? I grind on world records every day for several hours a day, and some Danish rödgröd snatches the world record by praying to God. My feathers are ruffled and I will not have it. Mark notices this post and replies, "They're just jealous that I get to fuck the cosmic vagina." Perfect Face, a speedrunner we will get to later, replies to Mark, "Your religion is false and homosexual, and by the way, I bet you wouldn't be able to get any world record without help from your gods." Mark responds to Perfect Face, "Oh yeah, I will show you. I can get any world record on my own." And so Mark produces this run, which we will be watching now. As you can see, Mark has enabled the Rutsu vision for max efficiency. It is hard to understand what is happening on the screen for us mere mortals, but what can I say, it works for him. Apparently, it took him 3 months of non-stop playing to get this world record. Neglecting any kind of chores in his apartment, like cleaning and such, he posted a picture of what his kitchen looked like after such an endeavor. As you can see, this kitchen could need some attending to. So, I mentioned Perfect Face. This young man had played GoldenEye and Perfect Dark for 4 years before he joined the elite website at the ripe age of 2 years old. His first post, void of any words, was just a video of an amazing Caverns Untied world record. I will dedicate this video to my viewer, or as we call it here, the SpeedLore champion, Anus Destroyer 69. Well, that's a name, I guess. I hope you will enjoy this truly remarkable speedrun by Perfect Face. I didn't notice this when I was pre-watching this before the stream. We can actually hear his voice in this video. It's very impressive for a 2-year-old to have this skill at his age. When I was at this age, I was occupied with setting my teddy bears on fire after having severed all their fingers and limbs off. But then you have wonder kids like Perfect Face who are ready to solve world hunger before they even leave their mother's womb. Truly remarkable. It was, of course, humiliating to say the least for the members of the elite to be crushed by someone who can name all the characters of Sesame Street. So, our next speedrunning legend, David Clementine, would restore order to the elite by stealing the hard-earned world record from Face. And he did so by utilizing another new, very odd strategy. He discovered that you could start a mission in second gear by using 4 controllers. Not only that, but the speed would be 4 times faster. It is as logic would imply. The more controllers, the more speed. I will dedicate this video to our SpeedLore champion, fully erect penis. Here's a video dedicated to you. Wow, just look at that speed and his maneuvering of this level. It's so amazing. He's truly a generational gamer. So an amazing world record by David Clementine. And my friends, we have almost reached the end of this SpeedLore episode. There's only one runner remaining that we haven't talked about yet. The world record holder. The current world record holder. The man I'm talking about is, of course, Henning Blom, who absolutely destroyed Clementine and his impressive record by 10 seconds. I hope you have prepared the popcorn, and I hope you eat it fast, because this run won't last long before it's over. Yeah. Huh, it was over before it even began. What a run! Truly remarkable. Now, some have been claiming that this run was cheated because, if you watch closely, before Bond enters the elevator at the end of the level, everything is happening in first-person mode. But once he enters the elevator, he is suddenly in third-person mode. Very suspicious, but whether his run is legit or not, that's for the viewers to decide. I hope you enjoyed your stay and that you will join us for our next SpeedLore episode. Farewell for now, and remember, stay true, my friends. And also, if you're a female viewer, send me nudes.